Changing if to how, launching in an upside down world. Hello, everyone. Tessa here with the Idea Pros marketing team, and I have Fred Carey. Hey, Fred.
Hey guys, how's everybody?
Good. If you don't know Fred already, he's the CEO of Idea Pros and has been innovating businesses for how many years now, Fred?
Too many.
Too many. And we're talking right now about obviously the world's in a little bit of an upside down state right now, and a lot of people are concerned. So how do we change it from if to how, Fred?
Yeah, and this was actually with the careful planning that we do before each show, Tessa. I decided I wanted to talk about this about 2 hours ago, maybe 3 hours ago, dealing with one of our partners who has product, is selling product, and is trying to ship their product. And now the shipping cost is more than the actual product itself. And we're talking about what to do about that. And it really brought to mind the fact that this has been a crazy ass world here for over 2 years now. Some entrepreneurs just give up, some get stuck, and some plow through it. The only way to plow through it is to think way differently than our traditional thinking has been. And so that's really what I wanted to talk about, just changing that mindset to be able to find a solution and be able to get your product and get it out there into the marketplace.
Awesome. So obviously the costs are going up, everything's going up. How can we do that? Do we get innovative in where we choose to manufacture, or what would be the best way to go about this? What are you recommending?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm hoping the audience will tell
Oh,
me.
nice. We're gonna
No,
get
I
some.
do have, but
But hey, let
however,
us know in the chat what you're thinking.
yeah, exactly. Well, let us know if you've done something different to get your product to market than you had planned on doing. But let's just go through the gamut here and talk about different things, because I've had several different partners in different types of scenarios trying to find a solution where they had been taught to go down one road, and all of a sudden that road turns out to be a dead end, or it turns out to be a toll road that you're going to have to pay a lot more to ride on than you thought you were going to have to do. So the very first thing is the manufacturing. China, 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 China. That's all we ever talk about, because they are so competitive and their price points are so low compared to anybody else, even compared to going to Mexico, which is right down the street from us, which should have very inexpensive labor, but they don't have the facilities and the infrastructure to be able to manufacture as efficiently as they do in China. So that's where we always go. Now we're running into issues in China. We have supply issues. When I talk about supply issues, I'm talking about the components that make up the finished product that you're going to develop. It's becoming a bigger and bigger thing that's led by other issues that we're going to talk about in a second. But the very first thing that we have is the inability of some manufacturers to get the supplies that they need in order to make that finished product that you have. So that's the very first thing that we come across as an entrepreneur. We can't get what we need. In fact, yesterday I gave a WTF exclamation point email response to something that I got from engineering that basically said, hey, these parts that we need for this one thing that we're building, they're not available, and it's going to be a year or two before those parts that we need are available. Well, that's not acceptable. That doesn't work. So what are you going to do? You're going to sit under a rock for 2 years and wait for it to happen? Or are you going to be really entrepreneurial and think outside the box? So that is one of the scenarios that we're going to be facing going forward. Parts are much more expensive, and the parts are unavailable in some cases. So now rethinking the whole China thing is something that every entrepreneur should do. I'm not saying there's a better solution necessarily, but you got to look, because you don't want to sit under that rock for 2 years. You do want to try to find a solution, and that solution may not be in the location where you started.
So
So,
location, and then also getting creative about the parts that are going into your product. I'm sure it's like, is there an alternative? Is there something else that we could use instead of this to get it here faster or to create it right now?
right. So now when you couple that lack of availability and rising costs and delays in receiving goods, when you compare all that stuff to even manufacturing in the United States, it becomes a little bit less of a spread because now maybe you can have a product and you have all your components available here in the US. However, there's another component as well that is continuing to make everybody crazy, and that's shipping. The cost of shipping from overseas has gone up fivefold, tenfold in some cases. And so now the cost of shipping as a factor of what you are selling has become exponentially larger. In fact, we have launched the Honey Hush product line
Mhm.
of blankets, um, and the cost of shipping was $500 more than the cost of manufacturing all the units that we had. So shipping cost was above manufacturing cost. We still are able to get that done at a price point that makes sense for the end consumer, but it's insane. Typically the shipping cost would be 1/10, 1/20 of the total cost of getting the goods over here. And now it's got to the point where you have to add that to the mix. It costs $40 to manufacture something in the United States, and it costs 20 to manufacture it in China, but it costs $25 to get it over here. Then you need to rethink that, right? So the United States can start looking a little bit more attractive, or other areas where shipping is not going to be that big of an issue, like Mexico, for example. You can haul by truck in Mexico, but now you have the other problem. What is that? I'm glad you asked. Uh, gasoline prices, right? Gasoline
Oh, yes.
prices have gone through the roof as well. So now even shipping and transporting across the United States can become very expensive because gas prices are going up and are going to continue to go up. I mean, and everybody wants to blame somebody for that, but there's a big ass war in Europe, first time since World War II that we've had a conflict like that. And one of the players happens to be a big supplier of oil. So do we do the right thing? Now's my ethical speech. Do we do the right thing and just accept the fact that we're not going to take oil from bad guys? Well, most oil is produced by bad guys, I guess probably is true. But from these particular ones who are getting really violent and taking over territories that are peaceful countries that are trying to be pro-Western, do we just sit back, or do we do what we have to do, even if it bites us in the ass a little bit because it increases our prices? So my vote is we have to deal with increased prices right now. So that becomes a factor as well. So what does that all point to? Trying to go as local as you can, okay? And trying to differentiate your go-to-market strategy in general. I had another partner this morning. We were talking about the fact that they are online, they're shipping products, and the cost of shipping a product has now gotten to the point where it's almost as much as the product itself. It's a different product, not Honey Hush.
Okay, it's not going to be all depressing things. So just hang in there. Fred's going to have some positive things to say too, or maybe he won't. But I'm sure that we're going to turn this into a how shortly. So stick with us.
Right. Right now we're talking. No, right now we're talking about the battlefield. What
Right.
is out there. And by the way, as an entrepreneur, I was just interviewed for a magazine story here this morning, and they said, "What is one thing that you, in hindsight, wish you knew earlier?" Uh, and I said, "Mistakes." And he said, "What do you mean by that?" I said, "I wish I knew earlier that no matter how far, no matter how advanced, no matter how successful I am in my career or in the career of any entrepreneur, there are going to be mistakes. There are going to be mistakes all the time. As soon as I recognize that that's part of the pie we eat, the better it was for me in dealing with those mistakes, right? So we can look at every single decision that we've tried to make. I'm producing in China. It could have been a mistake, but you have to deal with it because now it's there in front of you. And if you're not going to welcome them in, you're going to be all worried. Like Tessa was talking about the depressing news. If you just realize, hey, that's part of the game. I'm an entrepreneur. That means I'm crazy. So how do crazy people deal with things like that? They try to find solutions.
They find
And so,
crazy solutions.
and sometimes you need to find crazy solutions. So here, for example, with this particular partner this morning, we're talking about the fact, you know what? Online may not be the best solution right now in some cases, with shipping costs going where they are, depending on what it costs for somebody to buy your product compared to what it costs to ship that product. So with him, we started talking about what can we do that we were thinking of not doing. And what we came up with is stores, real stores, brick and mortar stores. Because if I send 1,000 or 10,000 widgets to one location, it's going to cost me a lot less per widget than it is if I take one widget and send it to 10,000 locations, right? So thinking outside the box as an entrepreneur, you may even want to go to your local stores. It doesn't even have to be a Walmart or a Target or any of those big national chains. How do I start? How do I make penetration? How do I get my product out where people can actually buy it? So look to manufacturing locally and try to compare that cost with the cost of manufacturing overseas, including shipping. Try to get as close to where you are as possible, and then start thinking about selling locally at first. Go back to the old ways of selling. Go take your widget, go to the local stores that might sell it. Maybe it's a local hardware store. Maybe it's a local department store. Maybe it's some dollar convenience store, whatever it is that could sell your product. Go start knocking on doors, because now I can even go and say, hey, I'm going to give you 1,000 of these. I'm not even going to charge you for them until you sell them. I have them sitting in my garage. I don't have anything to do with them. Let me go place them somewhere, start developing a market, start getting sales, start getting the penetration I want, and then start expanding outward from there. So the solution to all this if stuff could very well be, in your case, local. How do I go local? How do I keep it small? How do I keep my transportation costs low? How do I ship 1,000 units to one place instead of one unit to 1,000 places? And that can get us along the way and get us started so that we're doing the how instead of the if part.
And if you're curious on how you have this conversation with those local vendors, I know if you had, say, an alcohol product and you wanted to go figure out how to get this in the locations, go to somewhere local and ask them who their distributor is. And then you can start finding out, building a list of people that you can reach out to. So I know Ty, who I want to have on our show again, has given us that advice in the past. So it's really getting out there and doing it, looking into these opportunities, asking people, making networking, like network with people that could get you into the right conversations and right loops too, because it will
Yeah.
make a difference.
And as an entrepreneur, you got to be a couple of things. You have to be patient, and nothing ever happens the way you want it to happen. Something always comes up, and we're tempted, if we're new at this especially, we're tempted to give up. We're tempted to do the if part. Oh, okay, I'm going to wait 2 years for my part because it's not available now. That is really warm and fuzzy and comfortable and within our comfort zone, because guess what? We don't deserve to win anyway, right? We're always full of self-doubt, insecurities. We're trying something new. We don't know if we're good enough to do it. People around us are telling us, nah, why did you do that? You got a great cushy job. You can't stay there because you're never going to get anywhere. And you need to embrace these things and use them as a strategy to say, I'm going to get out in the marketplace when other people are too afraid to do so. right?
That's
And
how
I'm
the
gonna,
benefit.
yeah. So always take something that's a detriment and turn it into your benefit. This is a world I didn't plan on having, but now I can go local. I can say that I'm selling local. I can deal with people that I can see eye to eye and get them to understand that what I'm trying to do with my product is something that is not only important, but it's also, I'm a neighbor, I'm a friend, I'm somebody that's in the community, and I'm trying to create a business. Think outside the box, find your way to go to market, even if the way you chose initially turns out to be a mistake because the things that you didn't anticipate were going to happen.
Right, and I think being nimble and willing to pivot, Fred's favorite word, be willing to pivot if you need to, so that you can adjust and not just wait for better conditions. I love how Aziza put it. Something always comes up. You just need to be prepared for anything. I think not even just be prepared for everything, but be flexible for anything that's coming. Don't get too settled in on what you expect. It should be the way you launch.
Yeah, well, look, pivoting is like breathing. If you don't do it, sooner or later you're going to be out of breath, and it's not going to be good for you. So you just have to be prepared to take whatever comes your way and find a way to deal with it instead of, oh shit, why did this happen to me? First I had the pandemic, now I got COVID just in my neighborhood. I don't want to go wear masks to places, to knock on doors. Forget all that stuff. Just deal with whatever your environment is, make it happen, and you'll start getting traction.
And I love what Jared said. If you're having these challenges, so are your competitors. So it kind of evens, I mean, it is an even playing field. If it's not working for you right now, it's probably a good time, like Fred said, to take advantage of those things that are going on. When you can, and I know you say this best, but in those trying times, you're actually going to invest more in the marketing and getting out there, right, Fred?
Yeah, you have to have a voice. You're either going to give up or you're not going to give up. And if you're not going to give up, you got to play the game the right way. And guess what? It's like being halfway through a card game and somebody changes the rules. All right, well, you got to play the rest of your cards in a different way. And that's what's happening right now. It's probably only temporary, and you can get back to the way that you wanted to do things. But right now, I wouldn't even think as much about making a profit as I would think about making penetration. Get into the marketplace, start getting your product sold, start getting people giving you reviews, and expand from there. This is going to be over at some point, and then you can go back to the way things were.
Awesome. Well, I think this was really good, Fred. Thank you. Did you have anything else you wanted to add before I cut you off?
No, I just from the article that I spoke about this morning, mistakes always going to happen. They're always going to be there. And you always have to, number one, accept it. And number two, deal with it. And number three, flourish from it, because the changes that you make are the ones that are going to make you successful. Changes you don't make are going to put you at the bottom.
Awesome. Thank you, Fred. I'm so glad we had you on for this Friday's live. Thank you. We'll see you later.
All right, guys.
And I'm going to go ahead and take a couple seconds. I saw you guys over in our chat. Awesome comments. I love Katie was saying that she is really glad she did an app instead. And that is an option. I saw a couple of people talking about pivoting. If you are, Sean, I know I saw your comment. But if you are, there's Katie's, it's a mess. She's happy she's doing an app. What if if you are making a physical product? In fact, we have a couple partners have that, like a 2-part product. So they had a physical and an app. Right now might be a good time to be making the app part, depending on what dependency it has on the physical product, right? And I love what you said, Robert. It's an excitingly frustrating time to attempt to enter a market as an entrepreneur. But hey, if you don't take the time, like Aziza said, and you just keep putting it off and putting it off because conditions are going to get better, it's never going to happen. In fact, I had this awesome image from my marketing team today, and I'm going to try to put it on because you guys just have to see this is so funny. It was so cute, but it was an illustration. I'm going to post it in today's chat, but it's like, what happens when you wait and you're like, I'm going to jump off that diving board, and you're looking down, there's too much competition, a bunch of people in the pool, it looks like good conditions, and there's like a tidal wave in the pool. And so I'm going to post it. You guys can just, there's never a perfect time. There is always going to be challenges in the industry. There's always going to be things that are coming up. And if you are positive, which I saw somebody else say in the chat too, if you just have a positive mind frame or mindset, and you're ready to adjust, oh yeah, when you can't change the direction of the wind, adjust your sails. I love that. And really, we're here every single Friday to help you guys. I know it's difficult out there. And so what we want to do is be a conduit for you, a way for you to get positive, really good information to run your business better. So I hope that we've done that today, guys. And we're here every Friday at noon Pacific time. If you haven't already hit the bell to get reminders when we go live, please do. Also in the comments is our sign up form to get notifications. We will text you, and I want to get you guys involved. So I know you guys are in the chat right now. So let me know in the chat if you would be willing to come on to a Friday Live and talk with me in kind of a Q&A environment. We have a lot of cool things that are in StreamYard now, so we can have panels, we can have lots of different things. And if you're not willing to go live, if that's a little intimidating for you, maybe you're willing to do a video and then submit it, and we can post out, because I want, you guys are the core of what we do. All what Idea Pros is built for is to help entrepreneurs just like you to get through all these steps in building a product and an app, and really just having the awesome business that you deserve, and that freedom and financial, awesomeness that's there for you. So if you are willing to either come on to one of the Friday Lives or submit a video, let me know in the chat, and I'm going to hook you up. Yay, I'm glad. So we have some people who are willing to come on. And Stephen, you should be on one of the shows. And I'm going to mess your name up, but Igno, is that how you pronounce it? Let me know if I'm like butchering that, or send me an audio clip even and let me know how to pronounce your name. At the end of the day, you've done your best. When you put 100% in, like Hector says, if you're doing your very best, that's all that matters, right, guys? So yay, Steven's going to come on too. Awesome, guys. So I will see you next week for Friday Live, noon Pacific time. And just have a blessed week, guys. I appreciate you being here, and you really are a loved from the Idea Pros team. See you next week.